What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the McFarlane Tours DC Multiverse Batman from Earth -44, the Murder Machine. And so here we have Batman of Earth -44, or the Murder Machine, out of the packaging. And before we look at the figure, let's actually run through his accessories really fast. Murder Machine here does come with one accessory. He does come with this tentacle-like hand, which does look really good. And it does fit on either the right side or the left side, so I do like that interchangeability. And then he gets a McFarlane display stand. Other than that, Murder Machine doesn't come with anything else. I think having two of those hands would have been ideal, but unfortunately we only get one. So let's actually take a closer look at Murder Machine. So here we have a closer look at the Murder Machine, and I'll be honest, Murder Machine isn't really my favorite of the Dark Knights, but he's still a really nice design, and I really do like the way he came out. Really love the way McFarlane designed this figure. You can see we keep the traditional Batman cowl design where he has those really defined eyebrows with those piercing eyes. And one thing I really do like is, just like with the Merciless, they actually did make his eyes a separate plastic piece. So if you were to look under his head right here, you'd see that orange part that holds his eyes. And there was no painting the eyes required, so it's just a piercing orange color, which I do like that. We do have some gunmetal right here on his mouth and right on top of his collar right there, going all the way to the back. Again, not my favorite dark metal design, but he still looks really impressive, and I do like it. If you really wanted to, you could customize this into like a Batman Beyond, and it'll still look good. So really do like that head sculpt. If we take a look at his neck right here, they did a really good job sculpting the neck. You see all this armor bits, and it looks mechanical, which is the way it's supposed to be. Murder Machine here is a combination of Batman with Cyborg, and I really do like how it integrates Cyborg's armor really well with Batman. And then right here you can see the Cyborg cog with the bat emblem right here, and we do have some really nice blue panel lining. Now, I really wish there was more blue panel lining throughout the suit. I think that's something that they should have carried over from the comics into this figure, because I think all these indents having a little blue on them would have been a much nicer look for the figure, and especially if it continued on some of the back, because it does look a little plain, to be honest. If they had carried over some of that blue more in these lines right here, maybe right down here, I think it would look much better, but unfortunately it doesn't carry over, and that's not McFarlane's fault. That's just the way it was in the comics, so I can't really fault him for that. Shoulder pad does look really nice. You can see this really rich orange that they used for his shoulder pad, and it looks almost exactly like the orange that they used for his eyes, so that does give us a really nice contrast, especially with all the gunmetal and grays on this guy. He's not really black, he's more like a charcoal color. So I really do like that he's not just stark black, that there's some variation in him. And again, like I said, they have some really nice blue panel lining, but I really wish it carried over a little bit more into the outfit. And again, it's not McFarlane's fault, that's just the way it was in the comics. So if I had designed the Murder Machine, all these panel lines would be glowing blue. But that's just me, honestly. And then we take a look at the back. Something I do like is you can see how the armor is integrated into Batman now. Even his spine is mechanical right here, and you can see how it starts up here going all the way down. Now I do advise caution, because the bottom of his spine right here is sharp, so you might end up poking yourself if you grab it incorrectly. Now, one thing I am a little bit disappointed for is this pelvis piece. They could have actually made it a little bit smaller and got the same result, because it just looks like a really big diaper on him, unfortunately. In the back, it's not too noticeable because it kind of blends in nicely, but in the front, yeah, you kind of see that stark contrast right here, and it is a little bit jarring. If they had just made this a little bit shorter and left this part up here, I think it would be much better. But still, overall, really nice. We do have some more of that blue down his leg. As you can see, all this really nice mechanical look to him. Again, he is integrated with Cyborg, so everything here is an amalgamation of Batman with Cyborg. We have a little blue, I don't want to say repulsor, but it would be like some form of thrust for him to fly. And unfortunately, we don't get that traditional Batman shape in the boot. We do have this really nice panel lining right here, and overall, just really nice. If they had added just a little bit of blue down here in the legs, I think he'd stand out just a little bit more. But for what it is, Murder Machine here does stand out really nicely with all these stark contrasts. He's a really nice looking figure. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually compare him to other figures you may have in your collection. Here we do have the Murder Machine posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. Here we have Murder Machine posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. Finally, here we do have Murder Machine posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually run through his articulation really fast. Murder Machine does have an impressive array of articulation with some spots that could be a little bit better. As far as his head goes, he looks up surprisingly well. That head does go up. If they had just carved out a little more in the head right here, he'd look up a little bit better. He does bury his head really nicely, so I do like that. We do have some really nice head tilt, so it does pivot side to side, and as always turns left and right. Now, his shoulder pads, unfortunately, are glued to the shoulder right here. They're not attached to the shoulder down here. They're attached right here at his trap. So they don't really move with the arm, but they do get out of the way, as you can see. He does have a butterfly joint, which connects into a ball into the torso, so his arm does pivot back, pivots forward, can pivot down, can pivot up, does go all the way around, and because the shoulder pad is a softer piece, it will get out of the way, but it does look a little strange when you lift his arm up. Goes out to the side, no problem. We do have bicep swivel, double bend at the elbow, giving us really good range here. We have in and out movement in the hand, and if we rotate that, we do get up and down movement, so really good range there. And then of course swivels on that peg. So this is where his articulation is a little bit hindered. That's as far forward as he moves. Not really impressive. That's him neutral. That's as far as the upper joint moves. It does rotate, doesn't really pivot side to side up here. It's mainly just rotation. Some backwards movement, but not a lot. Most of the movement comes down here, but like I said, that's as much forward movement as you're going to get out of Murder Machine, which it's not ideal. Going back, really nice. McFarlane needs to really integrate this so that the torso crunches forward more, because that's more of the movement you're going to be using. He does rotate side to side right here, and of course we do have really nice pivot. Now this is another problem why this is a little bit too high. You pivot his body off to the side, we get this. Pivot it off to this side, we get that. And it is a softer material, so if you have it prolonged, it will warp, and you'll need to heat it up to get it back into position. So I don't know why they integrated it the way they did. That cod piece is really terrible, honestly. So moving on, his legs do kick forward. Really nice. I do like that. They kick back about that far. Go out to the side. Pretty far on both sides. We do have a slight thigh swivel, so I do like that McFarlane is starting to integrate thigh swivel into the figures. He does have double bend at the knee. No problems there. We have a ball joint here at the foot, so it does rotate side to side. Has a hinge which goes forward and back. We don't get too much backward movement, but we get much better forward movement, so I do like that. We have rotation for rocker ankle, and then we have a really generous toe hinge. So overall, Murder Machine here has pretty good articulation. It's not the best, but it could absolutely be worse. So I'm actually glad that he has the articulation that he has. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get him posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the DC Multiverse McFarlane Batman of Earth -44 pose for my final thoughts. And overall, Murder Machine here is a welcomed addition to my collection. I'm a huge fan of the Dark Knight's Metal series, so I was actually ecstatic when McFarlane announced they were making the Dark Knights. That's something I really was hoping that either Mattel or DC Collectibles would make, but unfortunately they seem to leave this on the back burner, and I'm really glad that McFarlane finally picked up the mantle and ran with it, because they are doing a fantastic job with these figures. Now, I do have to point out that he does have some hindrance in articulation, specifically in the torso. That's one thing McFarlane needs to work on, is forward momentum on the torso. They have a really good backwards momentum, but let's actually get some forward momentum on the figures. I think once they nail that, it would be perfect. Everything else on this figure does work really nicely. The arm articulation works fine. Head could be just a tad bit better, but it's still really good. The legs move like butter, and the arms are fantastic. So overall, I would say this is a must-have figure for any Batman fan, especially if you're a fan of the Dark Knight's Metal series. Batman here will run you about $20, and this was a timed exclusive from Walmart. I got mine from Walmart.com. It did take a really long time to get this out to me. After delay, I was honestly worried that my order would get canceled, but fortunately, my order did go through, and I finally did get the Dark Knights in the mail. So if you did order from Walmart, they probably either canceled it at this point or already shipped it out. And thankfully, we are starting to see these at Target, and other retailers have picked them up. So if you are looking for the Dark Knights, you can check Walmart, Target, Amazon, Big Bad Toy Store, and other online retailers. So with that being said, guys, I'm King of Dragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go check out all my other action figure reviews, as well as all my other DC Multiverse videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.